Good days for starting over, renew, refresh, all those R-E words, redo, new beginnings, all that good stuff. It is an absolutely gorgeous day at this moment in Ohio. I want to thank everybody for messages, emails, all that good stuff. I really appreciate the support. I had somebody tell me that there was a time period when I wasn't doing the show, and they said, hey, my husband and I miss the show. And I feel like my middle name is restart, renew, new beginnings, all that kind of brush yourself off and start over. So I wanted to put out a message today. As I had mentioned, I am, in the very beginning of this segment, I had just went through restarts, reboots, reinstall, so many technical difficulties. But guess what? I did it. At least I think I did. I usually ask my IT guy, just kidding, it's my amazing boyfriend. He's very smart in the technical arena, and I usually ask him, there we go, I usually ask him for help, and he's at work. So I had to figure it out all on my own. Good Lord, I have a list of passwords. They tell you not to do that, but I do. I make sure that I have them written down on these studio computers. There is very little that people could get away with as far as, sorry, I even have microphone problems, so if I sound funny, that sort of setup is a little bit different, and I'm looking at what I actually did to make this work, so I hope I sound okay. So microphones, rebooting, new passwords. I've done it all this morning in about the last hour. And there was a point when I was like, I'm just not even going to do this today. I'm not in the right frame of mind. This just isn't going to work. I don't, maybe I'm not supposed to do the show today, that kind of stuff. And I persevered and I did it. One of the things that motivated me about what I wanted to say today is I'm a social media person, and I keep seeing this meme, and I'm not sure who said it, so I'm not plagiarizing or stealing or trying to botch the message up in any fashion. But it talked about there's nothing wrong with starting over, especially when you start over this time, you get to start with experience. And I love that. I love that. Because if you look at, you kind of scrap everything and dust it all off, throw all the ingredients away that, the cake was terrible. And so you just throw everything away. You spend a couple dollars on ingredients, but it's the time invested that you thought, oh, this is going to be the perfect cake that I've created or whatever. But the next time you go to put all that together, you are giving yourself an opportunity to say, okay, there was too much sugar, there was too much salt, I added too much water or oil or egg or whatever. From tasting it is how you have the ability to be able to correct it. But oftentimes when we're in business, or maybe you lost a deal, that you've been working on for quite some time, and you really thought that the client was going to buy from you, and you had everything perfect, and today's the day that you were supposed to get the signed contract, and they said no for whatever reason. but they're firm on their no. You're not going to get the business. You're not going to get the sale. You're not going to get to go and scream and shout and cheer with your sales manager. So you have to reflect, and you kind of have to look at, well, what could I have done differently when you think you have done everything perfectly? And you're deflated and disappointed. And these agreements can be anything from a $500 sale to people that are closing, $1 million contracts. But it really is kind of like taking all those ingredients and all that experience that you had building up to that, and being able to say to yourself, maybe there is something I could have done differently, or I have everything I need to do this again. And so the next time that you put together the big deal, the $1 million contract, the small sale, you will have all of that knowledge to be able to bring with you. So those are the positive pieces of luggage that you want to take on your next journey. If there's a lot of negativity that comes with that, or things that you did wrong, you can toss that out. But being able to brush yourself off, stand back up, start over is the gift, is the strength, having the ability to do that. And I was doing my morning reading and studying and things that I do. And I started thinking about, we do that with diets. We do that with smoking, our attitude, exercise programs. There's nothing wrong with getting out of habit. It's not getting you toward your goal, but knowing that you can at least start over again with your diet. Maybe the weekend there was a big party and you ate too much of whatever, and big deal. It's all just chemicals that need to process through. Just don't stay on that path. Don't go to a party or places that are going to have this amazing food that's going to make you get off of your goal. It's all about goal setting and sticking with that. I've been through that this past year. It's been a tremendous challenge to stay focused and, keep persevering after what I want or need to keep my family, myself afloat. I talked the other day about your mind and what you feed it and self-doubt. And this is a little bit different. This is having the ability to say, you know what? I screwed up. I messed up. I did. Acknowledging it and saying, I did that. That is in the past. But today, I get a chance to start over. And I'll tell you, I've been getting hooked on this show. We've been watching this show on Sunday nights, and it's on the History Channel. And there, for a while there, it was The Foods That Built America, talking about the history of everything from the hot dog to, hamburgers with our major chains, McDonald's and White Castle, and how they did what they did and came to be, and the competition and that sort of thing. And last night, it was the same type of template. It was the automobiles that changed the world. So they go way back and they talk about the Model T and how that came to be, and making it, so that it ran. And what it did is it gave people all of this freedom. So now you weren't depending on transportation to get you where you needed to be. Now you had control of your own mode of transportation. And it was really cool because they had some uh, visuals of kids jumping in cars. They were so excited to get in the car and go for a ride with mom and dad. And look now, I mean, we just all take it for granted that that's what we need to have in order to get from A to B. And I know that there's some countries where it's makes more sense to ride a bicycle to get you where you need to be. I know that major cities, it's instead of having your own car, it's better to just take the taxi, to get you where you need to be, whether it's work or wherever. But an automobile is a staple in our lives. You grow up, you get a job, you get a house, you get a car. Boom, boom, boom. And once that happens, then you find somebody pretty amazing, and hopefully you will get married or begin a life with someone with children, husband, wife, what have you. Or you can stay single for the rest of your life. But there's a really good chance a car is going to be a part of your life. And I found it pretty fascinating because, in this time where they're trying to push, electric cars down our throats, and this is going to be the future. I looked at how intricate and the level of detail and hard work and sleepless nights that these men and women were taking just to get an automobile to function with fuel and oil to get it from A to B. I highly recommend this show because what it does is it gives you not only the history, but it gives you the perspective of those individuals, kind of a little bit into who they were. And last night was no exception. So we got a guy with the last name of Royce, and he was creating this auto. And I'm not going to get into details because it's just, that's not what this is about. So he's spending all this time trying to create. Now, we already got Ford out there doing their thing, and he's spending all this time trying to create something different. Something that wasn't, like the Model T. And once it was complete, he became very frustrated because then he didn't have the funds that it would take to get it where it needed to be. Well, a guy named Rolls comes into his office, and he is able to provide that kind of financial stability. When they go to market and establish a cost intentionally, on purpose, they are pricing this vehicle 20 times more than anybody else. Now imagine, the timing of this, back in the early 1900s when all this was going on. Imagine the timing of what were people doing for a living and who could actually afford this. And there's a pretty incredible scene where he comes out with a teacup filled with tea and a saucer, and he puts it on the dashboard. And some of this could be theater. It's fine with me. I get what they were trying to do, is that what ultimately ended up being the Rolls Royce, there was a reason they wanted to put themselves above, and that was you could rev the engine full throttle and the tea wouldn't spill, the glass wouldn't shatter, because it was such a smooth transition. And I was pretty fascinated with that. That's one thing, an example that I had yesterday that I didn't have the day before. So some of this stuff that's on television is kind of fun and unique. But I thought about that. And you think about that as you're going out into your marketing world. Are you afraid to have a price point for whatever reason that might be 20 times, 10 times, 5 times your competition? So you ask yourself, what do you have to offer? So going back to that deal that I was talking about before, whether those